What would you do if your Social Security check suddenly dropped by 50%? That's the shocking reality facing some Americans right now, while others are seeing unexpected increases. The Social Security Administration is cracking down on overpayments, but at the same time, they're also handing out retroactive payments totaling over $17 billion to millions of public sector retirees. If you're wondering whether your benefit check will rise or fall, you'll want to watch this entire video. Welcome back to Social Security Post, your go-to source for everything related to Social Security, SSI, SSDI, Medicare, Medicaid, and SNAP. If you haven't already, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. And if you have any questions about your Social Security benefits or anything covered in this video, please leave a comment below. We do our best to respond to every viewer question. The Social Security Administration (SSA) has begun reducing monthly checks for thousands of beneficiaries due to overpayment issues. These cuts can go as high as 50% of the recipient's monthly benefits. The action stems from notices sent earlier this year to individuals who, according to the SSA, received more benefits than they were entitled to in prior months or years. The repayment enforcement began in late July, and some people are already seeing the impact on their July 23 and August 1 payments. This isn't just a temporary cut. It's part of the SSA's larger effort to recover money that should not have been paid out. Beneficiaries who received these notices and failed to respond or appeal are now having a significant chunk of their income withheld until the overpayment is resolved. For individuals who rely solely on Social Security as their primary income, this could result in financial hardship unless action is taken quickly. Overpayments occur for a number of reasons. Sometimes it's due to miscalculations on the SSA's part when determining eligibility or benefit amounts. In other cases, recipients fail to report changes in income, marital status, or living arrangements. For example, someone who begins earning more from a part-time job or receives an inheritance may unknowingly disqualify themselves from receiving the full benefit amount they were previously getting. What's most troubling is that many recipients don't even realize they were overpaid until they receive an official letter demanding repayment. And by that time, the money is already spent. It's not a reflection of dishonesty. It's a sign of how complex and error-prone the Social Security system can be, particularly for seniors and people with disabilities managing multiple life changes and limited resources. From fiscal year 2015 to 2022, the SSA distributed over $8.6 trillion in total benefits. Less than 1% of that amount was categorized as improper payments, according to the Social Security Administration's Office of the Inspector General. While that may seem small on paper, it adds up to a staggering $72 billion in overpayments over that period, mostly due to honest mistakes or administrative issues. As of September 2023, the SSA had managed to recover all but $23 billion of that total. But that still leaves a massive financial gap, which the agency is now aggressively working to close. The recent withholding of up to 50% of recipients' checks is part of that strategy. And while it may be financially responsible from the government's point of view, it can feel deeply unfair to people living on fixed incomes who may have never even known there was an error. If you've received an overpayment notice, the clock is ticking. The SSA gives you 90 days from the date on the notice to take action. That means you can either repay the amount in full, request a lower repayment rate, or file for a waiver if you believe that overpayment was not your fault or that repayment would cause financial hardship. Failing to respond within this window will result in automatic deductions from your benefits. And here's the catch. Once that 90-day grace period passes, the SSA can start withholding up to half of your benefit check. That's a serious cut for anyone relying on Social Security to cover rent, groceries, or medication. If you've already spent the money in good faith, it may feel especially harsh. That's why it's critical to act quickly, either by setting up a repayment plan or applying for relief through the waiver process. Yes, you can request a waiver, and many people qualify without realizing it. If you genuinely didn't know you were overpaid, and if repaying the money would create a financial hardship, you can apply for a waiver using SSA Form 602 FK. available directly on the agency's website. You don't need a lawyer to do this, although it may help in more complex cases. The SSA will consider your income, assets, and whether you had any reason to believe you were being overpaid. If your waiver is approved, the SSA will drop the repayment requirement completely. This process is not automatic. You must apply and present evidence. Be prepared to provide financial documents such as bank statements, utility bills, and proof of income. The key is to show that paying the money back would either be unjust or impossible given your current situation. If you're not eligible for a waiver or choose not to apply, you still have several repayment options. You can make payments by credit card, debit card, online bill pay, or by mailing a check to the SSA. Their online portal allows you to manage repayment plans and even request changes if your financial circumstances change. Some people are able to negotiate reduced repayment rates over time. It's important to note that you don't have to repay the entire amount all at once. In fact, the SSA is often willing to work with you on a monthly plan that fits your budget. However, if you do nothing, they will begin automatic deductions from your benefit check, and those can be as high as 100% in extreme cases. So it's always better to communicate and arrange something that works for your financial situation. While some Americans are facing cuts, others are finally getting what they've been waiting decades for: fairness in the Social Security system. The Social Security Fairness Act, which became law on January 5, 2025, provides retroactive benefits to public sector employees who were previously denied full benefits due to outdated laws. This includes teachers, postal workers, police officers, and firefighters whose past work wasn't subject to Social Security taxes. The law aims to reverse the unfair impact of the Windfall Elimination Provision, WEP, and Government Pension Offset, GPO, which reduced or eliminated Social Security benefits for individuals with non-covered government pensions. Now, thanks to the Fairness Act, these workers are seeing justice, and some are receiving significant back payments. Since February 2025, the SSA has distributed about $17 billion in retroactive payments under the Fairness Act. That's a massive shift in policy and one that has helped bring financial relief to millions. On average, each recipient received a one-time payment of $6,710, with more to come as additional claims are processed. This money isn't just symbolic, it's making a real difference in people's lives. Retired teachers and police officers who were previously scraping by on reduced benefits are now able to afford medicine, pay off debt, or even catch up on rent. The shift represents a major correction in Social Security policy and one that has earned bipartisan praise. Before the Fairness Act, public workers with government pensions often had their Social Security benefits reduced or denied entirely. That's because their work wasn't covered under the Social Security tax system. The idea was to prevent double dipping, but in practice, it unfairly penalized people who had paid into Social Security through other jobs or whose spouses were entitled to spousal benefits. This policy disproportionately affected people in essential service roles: teachers, mail carriers, and first responders. Many felt betrayed after decades of service, only to find out their Social Security checks would be lower than expected. The Fairness Act finally reverses this injustice, allowing thousands of retirees to reclaim the benefits they rightfully earned. Following the Fairness Act's passage in January 2025, the SSA received a flood of new applications. Over 278,000 claims were submitted by individuals with work histories that weren't previously covered by Social Security. As of now, the SSA has processed 92% of these claims, with payments already delivered to millions. However, not every claim has been finalized. If you applied after January 5th and are still waiting, don't panic. The SSA acknowledged on July 10 that they are still working through the backlog. Given the volume of claims and the complexity of recalculating retroactive payments, delays are to be expected. Patience and proper documentation are key. Timing matters, and Social Security's payment calendar can make everything feel delayed or confusing. Remember, Social Security pays benefits 1 month in arrears, meaning the payment you receive in August represents benefits for July. So if your overpayment, repayment reduction, or your Fairness Act boost is processed in July, you may not see the impact until the August 2025 payment cycle. That's why some people are panicking when nothing changed in July. They simply haven't reached the first month where the change shows up. Hang tight and track the next 1 or 2 payment cycles to confirm what actually happened. It also helps to match your specific benefit type to the SSA payment schedule. Retired worker benefits are often paid on the second, third, or fourth Wednesday, depending on your birth date, while SSI typically pays on the first of the month or the prior business day if the first falls on a weekend or federal holiday. If you're watching for a cut due to overpayment, check the benefit payment detail in your online My Social Security account a few days before your scheduled deposit date. If you're waiting on a Fairness Act increase, compare your pre-law monthly award to your new payment notice once processed. The SSA should send an updated benefit verification letter when the adjustment is finalized. If you worked in a job that did not pay into Social Security, common in certain state, local, school district, postal, or uniformed public safety rules, you may now qualify for a benefit recalculation under the Social Security Fairness Act. The fastest way to get started is online at ssa.gov/apply. Create or sign in to your My Social Security account, then begin a retirement, spousal, or survivor claim, whichever fits your situation, and be sure to indicate that you have a pension from non-covered employment. Upload any pension award letters, union statements, or pay history that show your service in a non-Social Security taxed position. If you prefer to file by phone or in person, call your local Social Security field office and request an appointment explaining that you believe you qualify under the Fairness Act and need a review of WEP/GPO impacts. Bring documentation, pension plan statements, last pay stub from that employer, and proof of service dates. If you already filed in the past and were reduced under WEP or GPO, ask specifically for a reconsideration under the Fairness Act. In some cases, SSA can reopen the prior record and process retroactive payment automatically once eligibility is confirmed. Always save copies of everything you submit and record the date and name of the SSA rep you spoke with. This helps if follow-up is needed. Those are reporting 2 very different emotional reactions: fear over benefit cuts and relief over back payments. On the overpayment side, many fixed-income seniors say they had no idea they were ever paid incorrectly and feel punished for an error they didn't cause. Some worry a 50% cut will leave them unable to pay rent, utilities, or copays. Others are confused about what overpayment even means, especially those who never changed jobs or income. These are legitimate concerns, and part of our mission here on Social Security Posts is to help you respond before a cut pushes you into crisis. On the other side, we're hearing from retired teachers, firefighters, and surviving spouses who are finally receiving more accurate benefits because the Fairness Act reduced or eliminated offsets that had slashed their checks for years. Some are using retroactive payments to pay down credit cards, medical bills, or delayed dental work. But even here, confusion remains. Why did my neighbor get a payout and I didn't? Did I file the wrong claim? Is there a deadline? A lot of this comes down to documentation and timing. If you think you qualify and haven't seen a change yet, don't assume you were denied. Reach out, confirm your record, and make sure SSA has all the information they need. If you're waiting on a Fairness Act adjustment or a decision on an overpayment waiver, organization is your best friend. Start a simple folder, paper or digital, with copies of every Social Security notice, your application confirmation number, the date you filed, and any supporting documents you submitted. If you called SSA, write down the name of the representative and what they told you. This record becomes critical if you need to escalate, appeal, or involve a congressional office to move your case forward. Next, follow up on a schedule. Give the SSA reasonable processing time, at least 30 to 60 days unless your situation is urgent, but don't disappear. Use your My Social Security account to check claim status. If you see pending development, it often means they need more information. Call and ask what's missing. If your finances are collapsing because SSA is withholding 50% of your check, request a hardship review to temporarily lower the withholding while your waiver or appeal is under consideration. And remember, you can contact your U.S. House representative or one of your senators' constituent services offices for help cutting through red tape. Congressional inquiry letters often get claims reviewed faster. Right now is one of the most confusing and important times in recent Social Security history. Some people are waking up to smaller checks because of overpayment recovery. Others, especially public sector retirees, are finally seeing long overdue money flow in thanks to the Social Security Fairness Act. Wherever you fall, the key is action. Review your notices, log into your account, confirm your benefit amounts, and file if you qualify for an adjustment. If you received an overpayment letter, do not ignore it. Appeal, request a waiver, or negotiate terms before a 50% cut hits your income. Here at Social Security Post, we will keep tracking payment changes, Fairness Act processing updates, and SSA policy shifts that affect seniors, people with disabilities, low-income households, and anyone navigating Medicare, Medicaid, SSI, SSDI, or SNAP alongside Social Security benefits. Your financial stability matters, and information is power. Please share this video with anyone who might be affected, especially public sector retirees and anyone who recently received an overpayment notice. If this breakdown helped you understand what's happening with your Social Security, please give this video a like. It really helps more people see it. Make sure you subscribe to Social Security Post so you never miss updates on Social Security, SSI, SSDI, Medicare, Medicaid, and SNAP. And now it's your turn. Drop your questions in the comments. Whether you're dealing with overpayment letters, waiting on Fairness Act payments, wondering about spousal benefits, or confused about how your pension affects your check, we read every comment and do our best to respond. Thank you for watching, take good care, and we'll see you in the next video.